I've been a nun here for over 20 years, living here on the property, but I also spent a lot of time in Brisbane and spent most of lockdown in Brisbane, teaching down there. I've been a nun here for over 20. Well, if it's recording, it probably showed me pulling a face. Because that's happened before, because I did a lot of online teaching. So I was just going to do a little relaxation meditation to start with, and then a meditation on compassion, because we can never have too much relaxation or have too much compassion. Buddhas have ultimate compassion, and so this is for Buddhists what we work to, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. So we can never have too much. So there's a traditional way that people sit in meditation, as Shakyamuni Buddha sits and all these other images of the Buddhas. But the most important thing is to be comfortable. And for most of us, when we're children, we can sit cross-legged beautifully in kindergarten. And then once we get to a certain age, our bodies are not so compliant. So sitting in a chair is good. Some people can meditate lying down, but I am not able to do that. That results in me having a good sleep, really. So it's best I don't do that. So if you just sit so you're comfortable, if you have your arms a little bit away from your body, it helps prevent the heat building up in your body, but it's mainly to be comfortable. Let your arms just relax into your lap. Whether you have the traditional way of holding your hands or on your knees. And within that range of being comfortable, the next most important thing is to have our back relatively straight. So not rigidly straight, within its natural curvature, but not leaning one side or the other. And this helps the energy flow in our body. So you can either keep your eyes open a little bit and look down at a spot about a metre or so in front of you, and then just let your eyes lose their focus. So even the little muscles in your eyes are relaxed. Or you can just gently close your eyes. But if you start to get sleepy in the meditation, then just open them up a little bit and let some light in. If you tilt your head forward a little bit, it helps relax the muscles in your shoulders. And if you keep your teeth a little bit apart, it helps relax all those muscles in the jaw that can sometimes get very tight. And then bring your attention to the uppermost part of your head. So here at the very top of our head, there aren't any muscles to get tight. So we can imagine a deep sense of relaxation developing in that area. And then let that sense of relaxation gently flow down through the front of your head, through your forehead, your eyes, the little muscles under your eyes, through your cheeks and your jaw, down the sides of your head and your ears, down the back of your head, and also inside your head, through your skull, through your brain. Let that feeling of relaxation penetrate every cell, every atom, every tiny particle of your head. Then let it continue down through your neck and your throat, then out across your shoulders to relax all those heavy muscles, all the muscles we use for lifting things, holding our head up. Just let them be completely relaxed. Then let that relaxing sensation flow all the way down your back. So your whole back's completely relaxed. Let the relaxed feeling travel from your shoulders down through the front part of your body, your chest and your abdomen, relaxing all the internal organs as well as the external muscles. Then through the upper parts of your legs and your knees, the lower parts of your legs and your ankles, through your feet, all the way down to your toes. And allow that relaxed feeling to travel from your shoulders down your arms, through the upper parts of your arms and your elbows, the lower parts of your arms, your wrists, your hands and your fingers. And do your best to keep your body in this relaxed state. If you notice tension building up somewhere, just gently alter your position if necessary, or breathe some relaxation into that part. And then bring your attention to the breath, not trying to change anything, just being aware of that gentle rhythm of the breath, coming and going like waves. There are many things about meditating on our breath that are beneficial. But one of the things the scientists have recently been able to discover with their machinery is that it's one of the best ways to counteract our fight-flight reactions and the stress that comes from them, to just sit and meditate on the breath. This is the natural way to reduce our stress, the effects of stress in our body. So we're going to start our meditation to develop compassion with ourselves. Compassion is the wish that all beings be free of suffering. And so this is a mental attitude that we can develop. So if we start with ourselves, we're aware of our own suffering and how much we would love to be free of our suffering. So the traditional aspiration would be, may I be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. So just gently repeat this a few times to yourself in silence, so you begin to connect with the feeling of how much you genuinely would wish to be free of your suffering. So after cultivating compassion for ourselves, we move on to someone close to us, someone we easily care for, and how much we would wish them to be free of suffering. So maybe a family member, and an example might be, may my aunt with arthritis be free of suffering and the causes of her suffering. In the next step, bring to mind a friend and cultivate the intention that that person not have to suffer. So we can use the traditional aspiration, or we can be quite specific. May my friend be free of all the anger and impatience which brings so much suffering. And try to develop a genuine sense of how much you would like that person to be free of suffering, how much benefit that would be for them. And then in the fourth step, we cultivate the wish for a neutral person or a stranger to be free from suffering and its causes. And it can seem quite difficult to generate compassion for people we don't know. We don't know the exact sufferings they might be experiencing. But we can think of people who we've passed on the street or at work, maybe people we've seen in the news. And it can be quite obvious that there's a lot of suffering in their lives. So we can generate that wish, that compassionate wish, that they be free of all the different sufferings in their lives. And by working with this aspiration for people we don't really know, strangers, to be free of their suffering, this helps to dissolve feelings of isolation or separation from others. And so this is a very important step for us to cultivate. Next, we develop compassion for a person we find difficult in our lives. So we need to start with someone who's mildly irritating, mildly difficult in our lives. And then with practice, we can develop compassion for even those we find really difficult. And it can seem very unreasonable to develop compassion for those we dislike, those we fear, those who hurt us or deceive us. But keep in mind that when we close off our hearts against someone, we harm ourselves. By closing off our hearts and our compassion, we strengthen the negative habits of fear, anger, self-pity. And so that brings us more suffering. The most compassionate thing to do is to interrupt these habits and create new positive ones in their place. So visualize this mildly difficult person. Maybe say their name, and then whatever words are appropriate. An example might be, may this person who irritates me be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. And this small gesture of compassion begins to dissolve our numbness, apathy, and indifference towards the suffering of countless living beings in the world. We may not have the capacity to change all the conditions in the world that bring suffering for all these living beings, but we can, in our own minds, have a genuine, compassionate wish that they be free of their sufferings. We can avoid doing things intentionally that will bring suffering to others. In the next step, we make a compassionate aspiration for ourselves, our loved one, our friend, a neutral person and difficult one, all together, wishing that all of us may equally be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. This aspiration helps us to cultivate our natural inclination to reach out to others, to help them when we can, and reduces our tendency to be close-minded and shut off. In the next step, the final step, we imagine extending this compassionate wish out to a larger and larger circle of beings. Firstly, to all of those here on Chenrezig Institute at the moment. All the humans, all the animals, all the birds, wishing them to be free of suffering. Then extending that out to all of those on the Sunshine Coast, all of those we know in Queensland and all of those that we don't. All of those living in Australia. All of those on this planet, whether they're on the land, in the oceans and rivers, in the air. And then eventually out into the entire universe. Just letting that compassion and softness vibrate out to touch all living beings. So we can contemplate all the times people have shown compassion to us. From when we're small children, all the way up to whatever age we are now and into the future. From giving us a drink of water when we're thirsty, meals, whatever it might be, education, healthcare. We have received a lot of help from others to help reduce our suffering. And we can develop that wish that when the opportunity arises, we're able to repay some of that. Maybe not to the same person. We don't have the physical capacity to physically remove suffering. Even the Buddha said he didn't have that capacity. But we can develop our wish, our aspiration that all beings be free of suffering. And we can dedicate all the energy and creativity you've put into doing this meditation, that all beings become free of sufferings, free of the causes of their sufferings, and have that calm, peaceful happiness that they wish. And then when you're ready, just slowly open your eyes. So thank you all for coming today. I hope you've enjoyed your time here at Chenrezig. You're welcome to sit in the Gompa if you wish. It's not that something's going to happen. If you're happy to just sit and relax in this space, that's okay.